share about your background and what inspired you to pursue teaching as a career?
Uh, I've always found the concept of interacting with young minds very fascinating because I honestly, when I work on Sundays at home, Sundays I end up cleaning my entire wardrobe, cleaning my entire house, I cook. But I don't find that I'm doing something out of the way because I feel if I won't do it, who will do it. So I think that is the attitude that everybody has, especially all women.
Also, are you somebody who might have seen change in generation of women and can explain this? What is your real definition of success?
Of course, times have changed. Of course, people's outlook towards life has changed.
Welcome to 5th episode of Navshakti. Today our speaker is Miss Aksa Khan. She is an assistant professor of Department of Financial Markets. She is the coordinator of junior and senior unaided section. She has 8 years of teaching experience of undergraduates. She specialized in English language, English literature, soft skills and communication skills. She is currently pursuing PhD from Mumbai University. She has published 5 research papers in national and peer-reviewed journals. So, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and coming here.
I'm so glad to be part of this particular podcast. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes. So, let's get started.
Sure.
Yeah. So, moving on to our first question. Can you share about your background and what inspired you to pursue teaching as a career?
I've always found the concept of interacting with young minds very fascinating. Honestly, office jobs and just sitting in front of the computer or dealing with colleagues is an everyday thing. But I think something that sets teaching apart or being an educationist is something so fascinating because you get to interact with young minds, you get to learn so much from them, and it is also very empowering, especially when you stand in front of a group of young people and when you say something and they find what you're saying as inspiring or something. I think that's something that really sets me towards my goal.
Okay. So, what are the biggest challenges that you have faced as a professor and how have you overcome them?
I feel challenges in our education field is always regarding upgrading yourself in terms of your qualification. I think other than that, as far as workplace challenges are concerned, I don't think so there's anything that affects us as much because I think we're able to deal with whatever work that's been given to us. But personally, and I would feel in this particular world, in this particular profession, you need to constantly upgrade your qualification. You need to be the best in the market, and for that you need to constantly, for example, pursue, let's say, for your PhD or write research papers or all of that. So that becomes a little kind of out of the way because that's not really part of your regular teaching, but still that is expected of you as a teacher. So yeah, I think that's one thing that I found, and I'm still struggling, or I'm still in that particular process because I've realized that learning is never ending.
Yes,
and you
yes.
have to keep learning till the end of your time.
So, ma'am, can you share me one of your experience where you felt that, this moment, I'm not getting how to get out of it. I just do not know.
Honestly, I'll tell you, I've never really been. I do not know. I would say I'm blessed that I've never really been in a situation where I've not really found a way out, because I feel a very important aspect is when you are faced with any kind of challenges, you must realize that you are not alone in it. I think the people who struggle in any kind of challenges are people who believe that they can fight everything by themselves. So I think I am always a person, I always believe in taking help. If I am not able to understand something, I probably will speak to my colleague. I will speak to my senior, because there are people who are better equipped to deal with certain situations. I may not be. Okay, everybody has their own shortcomings, but the moment you feel that I have to deal with it all by myself is something where you get stuck in. So yeah, I've had many experiences where I felt, probably I cannot get out of it, but you immediately take help. What would you do, for example? You might be a student, but probably you must have had an experience like that before, and probably you might be able to help me. So I think you don't have to limit yourself to thinking that I don't need help. I think that is an attitude that we need to change. And the moment we take help from people, no matter who it is, it kind of changes your perspective about life, and it makes things very easy. So that's what I believe in.
Okay. So, what strategies do you use to engage students and foster a collaborative learning environment?
I honestly try to make my class very fun. I purposely crack jokes at the expense of the students, and I usually never take anything that they say very seriously. So even if for example, just yesterday, and I keep learning from my colleagues also. I'll just share one experience what I just faced yesterday. Yesterday there was a session on women empowerment in junior college, and there was a speaker who was standing and delivering a lecture, and there was this one girl student, she was having her food on the last bench. She was having chips or something, and I remember sir just standing up, and he just said, I am very sure that that is the best form of self empowerment. Having food and giving nourishing your body in the middle of a lecture is very self empowerment. I think we should all learn, and everybody clapped. So I feel that this is what a young generation need these days. They don't really need us to teach them what is right and what is wrong. So that is my approach in the classroom also. I would never shout at students. Even if students never come to my class, my strategy towards the students who's coming for the first time, you can ask anybody, I always appreciate them. I always congratulate them. I always make the entire class clap that thank you so much, you're the guest of honor in my class, and I'm so glad that you've come today. So I feel, of course, teaching and learning is something that goes on. But I think in order to, keep your class engaged, at some point in time, you tend to get bored. And it's very natural. I'm not saying that I'm a very effective speaker, but I try my best to keep my students engaged by adding an element of humor to it. So
Okay. So, like as you said that you keep learning from your colleagues or your students. So, any one thing which you have learned?
It's very difficult to kind of say one thing, but one thing that I would say I've learned from my seniors is to kind of take things very easily, like just like my coordinator here, he's a person, no matter what happens, he's always he never looks at the problem, he looks at the solution. ठीक है, कुछ भी हो गया, अब क्या करेंगे? Are you following? You don't focus on what has happened, you focus your energy on what you will do to rectify. So I think that is one attitude that I have learned, and I'm very happy about it, that I've had that kind of environment where I could learn something like that. That you don't focus on problems, you just focus your energy towards solving it. So you automatically solve half the problem there itself, and you don't aggravate it unnecessarily.
So, like, how do you manage work-life balance, especially with demands of research, teaching, and service?
See, it's all about at the end of the day, it's time management.
Right.
I think anybody who's extremely successful and anybody who's not able to do anything, they both have the same 24 hours. So the I think the final the statement is that you need to manage your time, because everybody has the same time slot. Nobody has like 25 hours or 28 hours in a day. So it's all about how I manage my time effectively. Mostly I believe in focusing on things that are important. I work on priority basis.
Right.
I honestly, right now at this point, I have at least 20 things to do. But I choose to prioritize this.
Right.
So, that is how you do it, There's no, rocket science behind it. You decide this is the priority and this is something has to be done.
Right.
So in terms of research papers, for example, there's a deadline. So you keep everything aside. This is my deadline. I have to do this. I have to set a question paper. I have to submit it by tomorrow. So my deadline is today. I need to work on it. I need to finish it today. So that's how it is. So you just prioritize and you give deadlines and come.
But women as a homemaker, like she has to look after everything. That may be like her work life or her home. Like, so how do you manage these things together?
Ever since we are growing up, we don't think about the fact that we are managing. You ask your mothers, you look at your sisters, and you look at everybody around you. No women will ever complain that, oh my God, मुझे घर का काम भी है. They actually find that empowering. This is something I find very fascinating. Women are ready to do everything. वो बाहर भी काम करने के लिए तैयार है, घर पे भी काम, and very happily.
Yes.
I look at some of my colleagues, they're like, the moment I step into my house, I step into the kitchen. And she's very excited about it. I am not so excited about it, but the thing is, we don't look at it as something that we are managing. We just feel that this is a part of, मतलब घर भी देखना ही है. हम नहीं देखेंगे तो कौन देखेगा? That is the kind of, I think we are sort of brought up with that mentality. So we don't really, I personally, I think after some years I'm going to become one of those people, because I honestly, when I work on Sundays at home, Sundays I end up cleaning my entire wardrobe, cleaning my entire house, I cook, but I don't find that I'm doing something out of the way, because I feel if I won't do it, who will do it, So I think that is the attitude that everybody has, especially all women, especially I think, that they are ready to do everything out of their way. So that's
Okay.
yeah.
So like there's a term called as good girls don't make history, bold girls do. What do you feel about this sentence?
First of all, I do not agree with the term bold.
Okay.
I somehow feel that the word bold has a slight negative connotation to it.
Okay.
I would rather use the words like brave and wise. Okay. I am more of a person, I will never really, I do not accept things that come my way. I always try to look at it from my perspective. So the moment I don't agree with the word bold, because bold is something that is reckless. Bold is something that, probably you do something at the spur of the moment and you can call yourself bold. But I think women who make history are women who are, or anybody, not just women, anybody, are people who are thoughtful, are people who are wise, are people who are calculative. Okay, so I think being brave enough, I'm not saying, of course, you need courage to do something new. So having the courage and being brave enough to, start something new or do something new is something very important. At the same time, being wise enough and calculating your chances. Okay, for example, if I change my profession and if I jump into something new, how long will I be able to survive? Just being bold is not the answer. Okay, you also need to calculate. Okay, अगर मैं ये काम करती हूँ तो how feasible that is. So I think successful people, no matter who it is, whether it is a woman or anybody, I think you need to be wise and you need to be courageous, you need to be brave, and just boldness does not really work all the time. So that's what I see.
Okay. So also, are you somebody who might have seen change in generation of women and can explain this? What is your real definition of success?
Of course, times have changed. Of course, people's outlook towards life has changed. The way my mom or my grandmom looked at things, I do not look at it the same way. I speak to them and I realize, they had a lot of constraints compared to, their thought process. And the way I look at it, it's very different. It's not because I am, someone different. It's just the times, the times that we live in.
Right.
Okay, the social media, things, we are able to interact with so many people these days. See, initially, you could not really learn from people so many different people, because you did not have access to social media.
Right.
Something very simple. Today we watch so many things on your mobile phones and all of that, and you get to learn great things from great people. Okay, so I think of course that mentality, that generational change is there. And as far as your second question is concerned, success is I feel success is very it's not objective, it's very subjective. It might be different from me and it might be different for you, and it might be different from me yesterday and it might be different for me today, because I'll tell you very honestly, the things that I'm doing today is something that I've always dreamt of doing when I was in the college. I do not know if I should be saying this, but when I was in college, I used to always dream about being very busy. For me, success was being busy. You know, you won't believe it. It's very childish and very immature at this point to think about it कि मैं ऐसा सोचती थी, but I used to think like that you know, probably at some point in time, you know, I will be so busy that if anybody asks me if you'll be coming tomorrow, I'll have to check my schedule and I'll have to check my diary, you know. So I'll have my point was I will have so many things to do in a day that I'll be super occupied, and this was my idea of success that time. But honestly, if you ask me today, and I'm doing that today, today I am occupied the entire day, but if you ask me today, my idea of success is having free time, you know, some leisure time that I can just probably, you know, just give
Relax,
to myself and I can relax. So my idea of success today is, you know, peace. And just, you know, whatever I'm doing, even if I'm working very hard, if I'm not doing anything, I just want to be with peace with myself that whatever I've done is not wrong. So that is one thing that I strive every single day, that no matter what I do, I need to be peace, you know, have peace with myself. So that's the idea of success.
So, like, Aksa ma'am, goals and manifestation. What is your meaning about of a purposeful life?
Manifestations are a bit tricky. No matter what people will tell you about manifestations, I find it a little scary. I always find the concept of, you know, I always question myself, the thing that I'm trying to manifest, will that be good enough for me? You know, because we are all human beings, we are all driven by desire. I want a chocolate. Right now I want to have the entire silk, but will my body accept that? So, you know, this is the problem with manifestation, and I've realized this a couple of months now, that you manifest things according to your desire, but not according to what you actually need.
Right.
So I feel what is more important is, you know, setting realistic goals in life. Okay, manifestation will happen when you work hard for something. Okay, but just simply, you know, the kind of things that you hear these days about manifestation, that, you know, you keep thinking about something, it's good and you might achieve it, but I always find it very scary that what if I achieve, and then what? And what if it does not suit me? What if I don't like it? What if it does not agree with me? You know, so all of those things, you know, I'm a very I keep thinking a lot. So yeah, so I feel being having realistic goals and working towards it is the only key, I believe. Yeah.
So, any childhood memory of yours where you felt, no, now I have to become strong, I just cannot sit, I have to deal with my problems alone?
Again, I do not identify with that question. When you say alone, loneliness is something that you bring onto yourself.
Right.
Okay. See, when you are a child, you have your parents. When you are in school or college, you have your friends. There is always somebody who will be there to stand by you if you ask for help. So I honestly do not see, there were many times, not just as a child, but now also there are many times when I find it so overwhelming that I cannot deal with something. So I speak to my parents. My mom is, you know, she is this kind of, I would say, a stress buster for me. No matter what has happened the entire day, I go and just throw everything on to her. So she is this very objective, very logical sort of a person who will listen to me. She'll tell me, no, you shouldn't have done this, you should have done that. Next time, you know, you make sure you don't follow this kind of methods. So, you know, I always, I am very blessed to have parents and support system like that. And I also believe in, you know, I'm not afraid to ask for help. I told you before only that I am not that sort of a person who believes that I don't believe I'm a superwoman. I am trying and I need help. And whenever I need help, I'm not afraid to ask. Okay, see, that is how you move forward.
Right.
Okay, anybody does not become successful all by themselves. You need a team. Okay, right now also what we are doing, even though we are both are talking, but are we doing it by ourselves? No. So I think the whole concept of, you know, being alone and I'm lonely is something we just bring on to ourselves. Why? Why are you alone? Why are you lonely? You take help of people who will help you. Who
Taking
will
help
guide you.
will not make you small.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I think that is the underlying statement, that why do you think that you have to do everything by yourself? Why? There are people around you. God has blessed you with family, and if not family, friends. Okay, you need to build that network for yourself. कि कुछ नहीं, मेरे पास कुछ नहीं हो सकता, मैं कम से कम I can fall back on this particular network. It can be anybody. I'm not saying your family.
Yes.
Anybody. Okay, right now I'm taking help of a group of students. It's okay. There's always people who will help you. Only if you think like that. I think the problem with people these days is, they feel that they need to manage everything by themselves. I think that is where the problem starts, because you are not meant to do everything by yourself. So I think that is one thing I strongly feel.
Okay. So, what are your views on domestic violence?
You need my views. It's funny that you think you need my views, and that absolutely unacceptable. No matter what you do and what happens, it's absolutely unacceptable. And I think serious measures should be undertaken. And I think most of the time the victim must realize that they are victims. I think the problem with domestic violence, मतलब domestic violence बढ़ता है, aggravate होता है, because the victim does not realize that they are victims. So I think that a little bit of education is important, कि क्या acceptable है, क्या acceptable नहीं है. I don't know if you all have watched, I don't know if it's right to kind of mention something like that, but in the movie, what is that, Thappad? Okay. I don't know if you all have seen it.
Yeah.
So it was just one slap.
One slap, right?
Right. But that is something that we need to learn. That no matter what, even if it's one slap, it's not acceptable. So yeah, absolutely not any kind of domestic violence. I think respect and dignity and integrity are the values that we should live
And
by.
also self-respect.
Yeah, absolutely. So you need to realize now that I cannot accept it. The moment you accept it, then it's okay. So I think that attitude needs to be.
Means like if you're okay with it,
Yeah,
then
you're okay. See, like that, you're okay with everything. All trash will be thrown at you.
Yeah.
The moment you're okay with one thing, everything will come your way. So I think you need to draw a line that no, it's not okay. So I think women who draw lines are able to navigate through these problems.
If like they do not draw lines, things will come on.
Absolutely. See, एक बार आप entertain करते हो कोई भी चीज.
कोई भी चीज, right?
If I insult you today and I know that you're taking it in a very nice manner, probably next time I'll throw more insults at you. Like that.
But if I say that
no
means no. So
I am finding this offending. Madam, you should not speak to me like that.
Right.
So next time I'm on my guard that, okay, this student has to be dealt with a little different. See, it's not just about women or, whatever, even violence at home, whatever, domestic, it's not like that. It's about, generally everybody must realize that they should have their own self-respect, that no matter what, I'm not going to take any kind of nonsense from you. And I think that is something that we all need to realize.
Received all the questions, like answers which I had of the questions. So thank you so much, ma'am, for coming and sharing your views, and like it was great listening to you and learning so much from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much once again, like I said, for inviting me. I'm extremely glad to be part of this particular Navshakti podcast, and the entire idea. I would like to appreciate the department of BMMC and also congratulate the coordinator Sakshi Temkar madam for coming up with such a creative method of communicating the idea of women empowerment. And it's very nice using this modern media of communication, that is podcast. So I wish all the best, and I wish all success for your all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.